Hey, and welcome back to the show. Today I wanted to talk about my progress with the GeoKart. Again, that's not a name that I'm keeping, it's just kind of a temporary name. I've done some chopping, I've done some removing of all the glass, well, most of the glass, and I found this little kind of tool that I think is a game changer when it comes to a project like this, especially if it's a light car and you don't have a lot of room in your garage. Now, the only reason I don't have a lot of room in this garage is because it's a giant disaster area, as you can see behind me here. But first I wanted to talk about the last episode, where a lot of you made some great suggestions and comments about what I should do. You know, some ideas for a few things that I've forgotten to mention for this project. And some of them I never even thought of, and a couple of them I think were great suggestions that need to be said. So B2P Production, he says, also for the Geo, you need a platform to stand on top to scout from a higher point, or at least make it look like people climbed on it a lot. Excellent point. I actually decided to do something like this, and I was thinking about it a little bit before. I don't want to make it exactly like septic tank. That's something I was trying to stay away from. But ironically, it's what I'm turning toward. That's kind of my style, you know, that's my thing. So I'm making it with a standing platform on back, like septic tank has. I even cut a hole in the roof like septic tank has. I'll burn it up like septic tank, and I'll dent it up, and I'll do it, kind of give it that same treatment, but it's gonna be a different type of car. I think one thing I thought of is it's important to make it look like it's from the same group of raiders, or you know, whatever, that build these cars, which is me. I'm the group of raiders. To give it that same treatment I think would be cool. I mean, I think I did a great job with septic tank, so why would I go away from that? It's kind of my style that I like to stick with, so I'm gonna do that. And then Kumabito 2008 says, epic project, how about welding the door shut and removing the roof? Maybe even an improvised fold down windscreen of sorts. Can't even say it. You could take inspiration from the old Willys Jeeps or Land Rover lightweights. I do like this idea. I don't think it really fits this. I thought about doing something like that on a different vehicle. I had a Jeep for a while, and I think it would be great, but I like the shape of this, and I actually tried to keep a lot of the same, you know, the roof line of the Geo I actually like. It's weird, but I do. So I'm keeping that. I am cutting a hole in the roof though. I'm not removing it completely. I think a lot of people do that and it's kind of overdone. Also, structurally, I want to keep the pillars at least on the roof. I can cut out the center part. It's super thin metal up there, super thin. It's like aluminum foil up there. So that stuff can come out. There's nothing structural in the center really. The structure is in the front of the roof and the back of the roof. I actually did cut out the back structure of the roof, but I kept the pillars in the back. I'll show you all that in a second. And then Mike over at the Nuke Boys, great guy, he says, recon vehicles should be camoed for the environment you're in. Of course. Urban, desert, woodlands, Arctic, etc. paint and camo netting, or add extra scrap to make it look like a pile of, well, scrap in an urban area. Just a thought. These are great points. I didn't even think about these, because I'm thinking about, you know, everything I'm making is always a battle vehicle. It always has armor on it. And this one, I didn't want to do that. So to make it something that's easily camouflaged, how would you do that in a post-apocalyptic setting? How would you do that where you're not just, you know, gluing branches on? I'm not going to do that, of course. But netting, like he says, netting. How do they do it in the military? They put netting on to kind of break up the lines. You know, when you see something out in the wild and it has straight lines, that's kind of an indication, especially horizontal straight lines, that it's not natural. So you break it up with cloth, like I did on septic tank. I had a lot of cloth hanging off it to kind of break up the lines, and then also netting. So netting will definitely be a thing. I actually have some really good, some big heavy duty marine netting from fishing boats. I have some of that here, and I'm going to be using pretty much all of that on this project, I'd say. As for camo, I don't think I'm going to do camouflage, like as far as basic, you know, jungle camo. I'm not going to be doing that. I do want to build it with this area in mind, the eastern United States, the southeast, because I'm kind of building this for aftermath. So It will have, it'll be mostly black. It'll have some of that red shining through, like I said, and it won't look like it was taken to a paint shop to get a camo paint job, but it will look like a bunch of raiders, you know, threw stuff together on top of it to camouflage it. And I like his idea where he says extra scrap to make it look like a pile of scrap. Well, that makes sense, right? I've always wanted also to utilize a tire. On septic tank, I originally was going to build a tire on top of the turret to act as kind of a protector in front of the gunner, you know, on the top of the gunner area. I didn't like the way it looked when I did it, but I'd still like to do it on here. I don't want to do like tire bumpers or anything like that, but I do want to use pieces of tire. I think this would be a good one for that. I may still do that, but let me show you what I've done on this so you can take a look for yourself. All right, so check this out. These right here, these are my game changer. These are, I think they're 1,500 pound. They're supposed to hold about 1,500 pounds per wheel. So this thing total is probably 2,000 pounds. Actually, after I cut all this stuff out, it's probably 1,500 pounds. So one of these wheels should, in theory, be able to hold the entire thing. They're super stout, super thick, and they were really cheap. I'll put a link to these in the description so you can check them out yourself. But let me show you how easy this is. You can move this thing around pretty easily. And this is good for when you need to move your vehicle maybe to the other side of the garage. This thing I've actually been able to turn all the way around in this little space just to make more room. When I had to take the door off on the other side, I had to move this thing over to access the bolts, to open it all the way up and access the bolts. So look at that, super easy. Definitely something I would suggest if you have a small shop with a smooth cement floor that you need to move, move your vehicle around. When I tore the seats out of the Geo, this is my find under the seat here. I don't think it's real diamonds because it looks pretty cheap. The metal looks pretty cheap. But I found 11 cents. So this is probably worth about 9 cents and this is worth 11 cents. Hey, pretty good find, huh? So thanks everyone for watching. I appreciate the feedback. And I encourage any more feedback if you have any more ideas for things I should do with this bad boy here. If you like the video, make sure you like and subscribe. You know, you'll see more of this project and the other projects I have going on. I have the Fairlane, I have the septic tank, which is a 84 Nissan truck that I've completely destroyed. I have Mini Nuke, my little go-kart. I have another go-kart that I haven't named yet that I'm going to start working on at some point. So if you want to see any of these kind of projects and you're a fan of the post-apocalyptic genre, like and subscribe. and I will see you next time.